Guess this thing's on. Hey kids, welcome to yet another episode of Stupid Battle Tracks. Today's wonderful device is something that I had first started dicking around with for my friend, excuse me, I had a bit of a cold, so I got a frog in the throat. Life's a bitch. I had been building for my friend Dick Wagner. We built him like a prototype, me and my son, and I never got around to finishing the project before he died. And I was revisiting some things the other day, and one of them was what we called the WWP, the Winston Wagner Photon fuzz, because it was built by myself and my son John Winston, aka Winston O Photon. Ooh. And anyways, I was looking at it, and it was basically what it was originally it was an EKI fuzz kit. It's a 2-transistor kind of fuzz face kind of variant deal. I needed something that was easy for my son to learn on because that was actually his first soldering job. And came as a kit. They're like $9.95. You can find them if you Google them. The shipping's ridiculous, you know. But the fuzz is mediocre. But if you dick around with it some, you can get some like decent sounds out of it. Well, anyways, I revisited the Winston Wagner Photon fuzz, which at the moment is not only upside down, but partially degutted, so I can show some stuff to the boys on the Snotbox forum. Basically, I had taken the EKI kit, and originally, because Dick wanted a tone control on the fuzz, we just added a real simple fuzz. All I did was I just ran a fucking wire from the input to the fuzz control to the top of a pot, and then put a freaking cap to ground. And I dicked around with it, and I found the way that seemed to work the best. Didn't make a whole lot of sense, because it was, instead of the cap going from the wiper to ground, this was one of those breadboard brain farts, you know. I mean, you dick around with things and you find strange things that you wouldn't expect. But don't smoke, kids. It's bad for you. But anyways, the way it ended up working out was I used a 50K pot with a 3.9K resistor. I was just monkeying until things sounded good to my ear, you know. And I'm only using half of the pot. I'm using it as a rheostat, not a potentiometer. A rheostat and a potentiometer are two different things. They're similar, but slightly different. A potentiometer can be used as a rheostat, but a rheostat I don't believe can be used as a potentiometer. A rheostat is a variable resistance. So say you got like a 1K resistor and you have a 1 meg resistor. Well, a rheostat you could go from 1K to 1 meg. With a potentiometer, you can do the same thing, but you also have the option of shunting some of the signal to either a different part of the circuit or to ground. I opted, in this case, for just changing the resistance. Didn't know what I was doing. As it turned out, Gord, Do-It-Yourself, I think Snotboxes, had said that what you ended up with was like a real severe taper, log taper, 5K pot. Which I guess makes sense, you know. I mean, I don't understand all this electrical stuff, you know. I mean, I don't have a little propeller on top of my head or anything, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm strictly a 10,000 monkeys and 10,000 years kind of guy. Luckily, I mean, little bits and pieces stick in my memory, so I remember things that worked from past, you know, things and stuff like that. So anyways, then what I ended up finding was instead of putting the cap to the, ground from the wiper like I expected, I found I got a better tone if I put it to the input of the pot. Now, it doesn't look like it makes any sense because it doesn't look like the pot's connected to anything. It looks like, for all intents and purposes, you have this pot just hanging off, not connected to a capacitor to ground, off of the fuzz control. But, and I don't know why it works, and I am assuming that somebody smarter than me can explain this, but from what I've read, I'm assuming what the pot does is it changes the... I don't know why. I have no idea why it works. And as a matter of fact, you know what? I got my meter here. I don't know if you can hear it beep. Everybody's assuming there should be a connection on the third pin of the tone control to ground. Well, I'm going to put this down so you can see what I'm doing. Here's my black lead. I'm going to stick that in the case. See? Put this here so hopefully you can hear it. I don't want to hit any keys and make this thing get stupid. Okay, I'm touching the case. It's connected to ground. I'm touching the terminals of the tone control. There is no ground connection. The only ground connection is to the back of the tone pot, which is conveniently where I had gone and soldered the free leg of the cap. Now, I know it shouldn't work, and it doesn't look like it should work, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. This isn't the first time I've used this particular circuit in a fuzz and had it work. What you end up getting, if you ground, if you're looking at a pot, okay, with the back of it facing at you, I'm doing this backwards, so I'm going to try doing it lefty so it looks right for your screen. If I'm looking at the back of the pot, then I guess I got it backwards. You got 3 pins, okay? Looking at the back from the top, you're going to have pin 3, pin 2, which is the wiper, and pin 1 going to ground. Some people go and do it the other way. Basically what ends up happening in most cases is you have a control that works backwards from how you expect. You swap the 2 outside cords, that's all you got to really worry about. Alright, but anyways, in this case, if you go and connect the unused pin to ground, what you get is, I'm going to show you, got a jumper here somewhere, unless I dropped it again. Oh, here we go. Blind old hippie, you know. Take the jumper to ground, hook it to the case of the pedal again, okay? Right now, I've got the tone control all the way up. I'm going to turn it all the way down. Right now, I'm going to turn up the attack and saturation controls halfway so it'll be easier to hear it. Starting with the tone control full up. Halfway up. Now if I connect that unused pin to ground, I'm going to go inside here, and I don't know if you can really see it in there, but this is the actual tone control. Everything's backwards. This, there we go, that's the actual tone control as it's wired in here. As you can see, and it's pretty crummy because, like I said, this is a prototype, just a lot of dicking around, swapping components, soldering this in, soldering that in, and it was my son's first, time soldering something, so some of the connections on the board are a little messier than you might expect, especially from some idiot that's built as many boxes as I have. But anyways, here's the tone control, alright? I am going to leave the tone control full blast. And I'm going to hook up ground to that bottom connection. Now watch what happens when I turn the snarl control down. Oop, hang on. This is weird. That's grounded. I wouldn't expect it to do this. It wasn't a minute ago. So apparently, I am wrong. Let me make sure I got a good connection to ground with my meter. And I will eat crow on the forum for arguing that it worked when it doesn't seem to make any difference whether it's connected to ground or not. Let's see. Definitely connected to ground. Try it again. I'm going to disconnect the jumper. I hear a slight disturbance, but I get no ground connection. Here, I'll try doing it like this. See, no ground connection. There's ground connection. Beep. None. But here's the thing that's so weird. You can hear it's working as a tone control. And there's no connection to ground on that final thing. I don't know if maybe it's leakage through the pot. That's possible. So I guess you can tie it to ground if you want to, or maybe put a small resistance there. I'm not really sure what the hell's going on. Doesn't make any sense to me. But hey, it's working like that. I was arguing the point like an idiot earlier. But that connection, you can either put it to ground or not. See which way it works for you, I guess. I mean, it's a simple enough matter to change it if you have to. But anyways, now that the thing's working, I'll take a minute or two and try and dial through a couple of tones on it so you can hear what it sounds like. Okay, and it's different depending on whether you like using neck pickup or bridge pickup. Humbuckers and single coils are a little bit different. This thing sounded really good on my Firebird last night with the mini humbuckers. It was real focused and intense, particularly with a fuzz face driving it. I've got it going into a custom 200. There's a little bit of reverb on, just a touch of that harmonic tremolo because I'm addicted to that sound. Strap on the trusty noisemaker. Let's try and adjust this a little bit. Of course, it has to make things harder for me. There's the custom. Tone controls, fine controls. I like my pickups wired out of phase with 2 humbucker guitars. Take this thing off. Go in for a colonoscopy and get a dislocated thumb. There you go. So I'm going to start on the bridge pickup. I'm turning up the saturation control, the tone control, and the balls control. Everything's halfway. Compression switch off. It's loud. I'm going to cut it back a little. With the fuzz control, or balls as I put it on the other one. I'm going to turn down the saturation control all the way and crank the volume. As you can tell, it's loud. Give it a little saturation. Nice singing. turn the tone control all the way up. That's how I put the saturation halfway up too. Just sweep the tone control all the way down. Have to turn it up a little to compensate. Because there's a couple of weird notches here and there. Switch to the neck pickup. Turn the tone control all the way down. Bring it up and get the octave. Turn the saturation all the way off. Turn the compression on. Now suddenly it sounds kind of like a sax. Or violin. If you've ever listened to any of my crap, my song Titania sounds almost like the cello thing that I used. And this is with the tone control, not having that third lug connected. I'm gonna try and find the notch. Almost a slow attack. saturation, a little more volume. Octave up and down. Well, not down, but just fundamental. With this weird soft attack. We'll turn it up, the tone, or snarl. Turn the tone. Doesn't really clean up a lot, but it gets quieter. A little more saturation. And crank it up. Gonna put the snarl all the way up. And for reference, off. I'm gonna turn up the saturation all the way. Turn the compressor off. It can get very loud. Find the notch. I mean, that tone control is definitely doing something. Put the comp on so it doesn't change as much when I sweep it. Sounded like a synth almost. Custom pretty good. can see why Mike Tester put a volume control on it, a master volume. I mean, there's a lot of volume to it. I don't think I need one, although I might add one to it. Alright, so let's try it into a different amp real quick. I'm going to put it into a little Class A PV, all tube kind of dealio. It's a PV Valve King Royal 8 into input number 2, everything halfway up. There's the amp. One of them notches. halfway up. Can't really get the dirt to go away, so this is pretty much strictly like a crunchy kind of rhythm. Or a solo kind of box. Well, anyways, blah blah blah. There you go, gratuitous inside shot. You can see the transistors and all that crap in there. And the horrible rat's nest of everything. And all the other crud. But this is the dirty bad Model 1 driver for what it's worth. And once again, this has been your host, Jimi Photon. Wondering why you keep watching these things. With trusty Les Paul in hand. And trusty box saying, hey man, work for peace and justice, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.